Back on fuel economy, you know, fuel economy is a big thing for people right now.
Especially now with the price at the pump.
Yeah, and you've got, but you know, everybody's got their pickup trucks, everybody's got their cars, everybody wants better fuel economy, whether it's their daily driver that they have a lot of fun with, or whether they're towing their toys. What's the difference between fuel economy on like an STS Turbo kit versus superchargers and all the other mods that people typically do?
Well, again, same thing. Turbocharger is relying off exhaust to generate power, so it doesn't pull off the crankshaft like a centrifugal or a root style supercharger may. A root style supercharger or a centrifugal blower needs to be turned from the crankshaft, so if you've got one that generates 500 horsepower at the flywheel, it's taking an additional 80 or maybe 100 horsepower to turn that supercharger, so the motor is utilizing 600 horsepower worth of fuel. The brake specific fuel consumption in the supercharged motor is greater because of that, so the realized horsepower and the amount of work the engine does is completely different from a turbo. And you will see better mileage on a turbo because it does not need to use the motor to make that power.
Wow, just again with all that power, that just feels incredible.
Yeah, and the beauty is it's just as drivable as completely stock. If you want to have your wife or girlfriend drive the car, or somebody in the family, they can drive it like a normal car. It doesn't mean that it's going to be all out of control. You just drive it like you would any other regular car, and it drives just absolutely fine. So you get all the benefits of a Corvette Z06 with the horsepower of a ZR1 and the mileage of an import car.
Great. So a little background on the company. How long's STS been in business?
Just about 5.5, 6 years. The owner of the company owns several shops, and he's been in the automotive industry all his life. His name is Rick Squires. He's owned several shops, and during that time, people had come in and wanted work done to vehicles, and he had come up with a concept to put a turbo on the back of I believe it was a pickup truck, and it might have been a Tacoma it started with, and that got the concept off the ground basically. And then he started to do it on cars, and people began to realize that this actually works. I think one of the biggest problems is that if you're dealing with people that have turbo experience, the first thing they're going to tell you is that, well, that doesn't work, it's not possible. And I can justify that because I've been in the turbo game for about 15 years, and I actually have a small block that makes about 2,000 horsepower.
Wow.
I've set several world records with it. I hold a world record right now for it for the world's quickest and fastest door slammer small block Ford. And that's for a 302 small block, not a 5.8 base motor. And I can tell you that when this company came to me and said, we want you to come and be our sales manager, I said, there's no way I can do that, because that stuff doesn't work, because I'm an expert. I have a Pro 5.0 car. The reality was, I was completely wrong.
Wow.
You know, sometimes we just have a window we look through and we can't see past that. And I began to investigate it. I began to realize that it actually does work. The problem is that people like myself and that are turbo educated, it's a lot harder to get them convinced than a guy that's never been exposed to this. So if I take your average guy that may have had a supercharger or no power adder, and I show him our system, I take him for riding a car, everything's great. I take a guy with experience and he says, well, that can't possibly work, because they've never seen it and they don't understand the concept.
Well, thanks for the ride.
Not a problem, my pleasure. This is an 07 Z06, and this car with the stock motor made 705 horsepower on methanol and in the 650 range at the tire both times on just gasoline. Pretty impressive numbers.